Welcome back to Alley Cat Paint Designs, Matt. Today what I'm going to do is show you how to paint on an aluminum sign. Aluminum does not always take paint very well, so prep is important. This has got several different kinds of paint on it. It's got spray paint on the outside, just right out of a rattle can. And then this is all oil-based paint, like what I've used on a lot of other signs. And then I believe I have covered it with a water-based polyurethane to help protect it, keep the paint from wanting to peel off, etc. But we'll go over some of that later. I've got a couple projects I want to work on here. Again, we got a yes parking sign, and this is already coated, so that's great. We want that. This is going to go outside. I think for my neighbor, I'm going to paint him a well water sign because he waters with well water. And because it's already coated, I don't really want to take the coating off. I just need to scratch the surface. I want my paint to adhere. Sometimes when you go to a restaurant or a grocery store, they have paintings on the windows, and when you paint on a surface that is non-porous, the paint is not going to adhere. If I paint this without any prep work and I put it outside, especially in the elements here, the paint will probably not take long and it will be peeling and coming off or cracking really badly, etc. So prep work is important. It's all in the prep work. I'm going to use this older piece of sandpaper. As you can see, it's got some junk stuck in it. It's probably, can't even read the back anymore. It's probably 120 grit, not very heavy in grit. When you do woodwork, etc., you might start with an 80 grit and then go 100 grit and then 120 grit and so on. The lower the number, the more abrasive it is. I don't need severe abrasion. So that's part of the reason I'm also using a used piece of sandpaper, because I don't want to take the white off. I just want to rough the surface. Then I will thoroughly clean it, and I like to use Dawn soap. Dawn takes away grease and any of those elements that may prohibit the paint from adhering. So I will go back and thoroughly clean it and dry it before I begin. So sandpaper is also one of the commodities. I talked before about paint and wasting paint and all that kind of stuff. I'm not attempting to be wasteful. I really am not. You just know that there's going to be waste. Sandpaper is what it is. Buy it cheap, use it, and throw it away. Don't waste your time and energy. Now, one thing to think about is when these have been applied and put up, sometimes you get what they call puckering. So the metal, I don't know if you can see it very well, but right here where the bolt came through, it's lumped, puckered, it's pulled in. So if you're not careful as you're sanding, because it's raised, your sander will really pick up on that and you'll really clear that paint away from that area really quickly. Keep that in mind. That's probably sufficient. I don't know how well you can see, if you can see it at all, but it's got a pretty good shine here, but the further up you get, it's scratched, dulled, however you want to say it. Well, my intention is to probably put well and water, something to that effect. So I don't need to sand every inch of it, just the areas in which I'm going to apply paint. So there we go, nothing fancy. I'll set that aside. Again, might be able to see a little easier here, the puckering. So you can see that it's been drawn into the pole that it was on. Regardless, this is a no truck sign, and this is going to be a gift for somebody, hopefully for Christmas. This is a piece of 3M paper, and it is 120 grit, brand new, because I do need to sand the entire surface, and I want it to be sanded well, because I will be painting the entire surface. I do prefer the unpainted sign when I'm going to paint the entire surface. So let's get started. Okay, now you should be able to see pretty easily the difference in surface. You can still maybe see a bit of a sheen. See how this light kind of comes dancing through? So you might be able to still see a little bit of a sheen, but this is highly scratched. But see, with 120, you're not leaving gouges. All you want to do is scratch the surface so that when the paint goes in, it has something to kind of hold on to. The flatter, smoother the surface is, the less chance that the paint will stay for any duration. So there you go, that's what that looks like. I will go back and thoroughly wash this with soap and water. Much like that Batman I just showed you, it'll probably have a base over the whole general area, and then I'll probably highlight a color around the edge. I do have airbrush and want to learn how to use it. I've tried one time before and was not good at it. So maybe one of these days we'll learn that together. But anyway, that's basically it. I'm going to go ahead and sand this other side, and I'll see you when the video resumes. Okay, so back to our sign that we sanded. As you can see, it's not perfect. I'm not so concerned with how it all looks. This is just going to be a simple sign for my neighbor. I don't know how well you can see it, but painter's tape so that I can box it off and have a place to do the painting. And that's one thing that this mat is really good about. With all the lines, it kind of, when you're doing something square or rectangular, you've got lines to go off of. Make sure you got your can opener, got your paint, got your paintbrush. I like to use a clear ruler. Kind of wish the sticker was off of that. I don't enjoy doing words and letters because there's a lot of detail, and I like detail, but not this detail. Again, I don't know how well you can see it, but the good thing about a clear ruler is you can see what you've already drawn, and so you can use every little line, the thickness of the line, maybe the thickness of the quarter line or the thickness of that, and those kinds of things. You can use all those things to give you your depth. On this particular sign, because it's a white background, I usually use a white pencil, but because it's white, I needed just a regular pencil. So I had all that handy, ready to go, and now it's time to start putting some color. The words are 3D, don't know how well you can see that, but the words are 3D, and what I did, because I don't enjoy letters, it's not my favorite thing, I pulled it up on my laptop, which is over here, so I could see how to draw it. At first I was going to make it kind of angled and different, and I didn't like how that was looking, so I changed it up. Make it easier to read from the street kind of thing. You don't have to do all that. You don't have to do it the way I do it. You do it how you're comfortable with. Again, I don't like doing these, so I kind of need the lines so that I see what I'm doing. I think that's best for me because it's not something I can do. There are plenty of other artists that will just take their paintbrush and put it on, and they will just write stuff right out, and that is not me. I need some guidance. What I do is I start with the background first. I'm not at all worried about going on to the letter, as you can see in these areas. I went over the face of the letter because what I'll do is I will go back and go over the face of that and cover that up. This is for the background. I always try to work at the back and work my way forward so that I can hide things just like that. Don't let your eye fool you. If it's a 3D letter like these are, to help them kind of pop off this sign, then the letter that's behind there is supposed to be the same size as the letter in front. So when your eye, when you look at it and your eye is telling you that just doesn't look right, it probably is. Sometimes I have to tell myself to go with it, especially when I see things like colors. When my eye says, that's a white shirt, but when it's shaded, it looks blue in certain light, or it looks purple in certain light. Your mind is like, well, but it's a white shirt. How can it be blue or purple? Because it can. That's what shadowing is. It really can mess with you. That's something that I've struggled with for a long time. Just telling myself it is blue or it is purple or whatever the case may be. I have another brush I'll show you later when I go to paint the surface of the letters. I'm also going to edge the letters, which will help them stand out even better, make it look a little more finished even. I'll probably use this brush that I'm using right here. It's Black Widow by MAC. MAC is the brand, and it's a 000. This is kind of my go-to brush for just about everything. Doesn't have to be, it's just the way I am, just what I'm comfortable using. You'll figure out for yourself what works for you. I went outside of my line there on that E just a little bit right here at the corner, but it's okay. Just go with it. You're not going to hurt anything. I don't mind doing some letters and words on some of my sign, like if I'm doing a hot rod sign of sorts, and it's whatever the case may be. But that's kind of the extent of it. I don't really enjoy words. I probably am just too particular about my work, and words are exact. Before I move on, as I've told you before, it always helps to look over your work and work right to left so that you're not then going back over, touching something, smearing something. Get any further, I take a quick look. Looks like I hit all of it, so then I'll move on. This is not the only way to paint letters. There are probably lots of different ways to paint letters. This is just how I'm doing it. You find out what works best for you. Okay, I'm going to keep going, and I will pick the video back up when I'm ready to do the next color over the letters. So, what we're going to do is I'm going to paint the well word in a gray color. So, I got my bowl out, I got my brush out, got everything I need, paint cleaner, paper towels, everything you need, like usual, right? Open the cans up. Now, here's what I like. I don't think I've said this before or showed this before, but these are just measuring cups from Dollar General, Dollar Tree, places like that. They're cheap. This happens to be a Tupperware bowl. I didn't realize that was Tupperware. But anyway, I use them, and I use them over and over, as you can tell. And one thing I like about using these over and over is you can see the different shades of whatever it is you've used. So this is my usually black and white. This is usually yellow, white, brown, different shades of green or yellow, red, orange, rusty colors, blue, purple. Anyway, we're going to have to do a little bit of mixing because I want to use a gray. This is convenient because you can see the different shades, so we need to do some mixing. So open your cans, get a mix, and I'm not perfect when it comes to the color wheel, when it comes to mixing colors and getting them right. However, this is pretty easy. You mix black and white to get gray. One thing definitely to think about is not to be in a hurry. You don't need to be mixing your black and put the black in your white can. There goes your white paint. So take your time. It's not a rush, not a race. But one thing I do know when it comes to mixing paint, I want gray, which means you start with a base of white. So get you a couple of scoops. I even have used in the past plastic spoons when I know I want to mix quite a bit. Use a plastic spoon to get the paint out instead of just a stick, because a stick will give you paint, but it'll give you little amounts, slow. Now that I have a decent amount of white, I'm going to get a little bit of black and see what that gets me. And then when I'm mixing a darker color, so I'm using white and black, then I use my black stick so that I don't then accidentally stick the black stick in the white paint. I already know it's black, it goes in the black can. Just something that I have done to help me. When it comes to painting, coming up with these kinds of ideas, things that you're going to do or not do, whatever it is you want, use your imagination. You don't have to follow what I do. You don't have to do what I say. You do what you want. I'm just using gray because I want the letters to still kind of stand out from the white background, but I'll be coming in and I'll be outlining each letter with black, and then you'll see that dark blue background of what looks like the 3D part of the letter. They'll stand out enough. It doesn't have to be too dark like this. Now I think I will add a little bit more black. Clean my stick off so I'm not putting white paint or gray paint in my black. I tilt the bowl or the cup on its side, let all that paint run down so that I get it good and mixed. I don't need much because all I'm going to paint with this color is the word well, W-E-L-L, so I don't need much. However, it's been my experience, I typically mix way too much and then you have a lot of waste, but it just is what it is. In this particular case, I can still see some black swirls. It's not 100% mixed, but I think it'll be just fine the way it is. And this paintbrush, this is a little different than what you've already seen me use. The Triple Lot Mac. This is a Mac as well, an 839. It's got a lot longer bristles and they're chopped very flat. This is a letter brush made specifically for painting letters. And the bristles are long so that they hold a lot of paint, so you're not constantly refilling. Okay, I like that. Pretty easy, pretty simple. I made a bit of an error. I used an older white paint and it left some globs. It did not stir or mix well. And then another thing too is here and there, you probably can't see it on the camera. I don't know how well it picks it up. Between the blue and the gray, there are some white lines here and there where I didn't quite get the paint butted up against each other. That's okay. It doesn't have to be perfect. We're going to go back and we're going to outline and we'll cover those black lines. Also, you might be able to see over here, this line is a bit wavy. I pushed down a little too hard with the brush and it kind of spread it out. So this side got a little too wide. Again, that's okay. We're going to outline it. We can straighten that up when we outline. Don't worry about perfection. It's going to be just fine. That's how that works. I think that's good. This down here, I'm going to make a lighter shade of blue. I don't know if you could see, but as I was painting, this nice flat edge sure helped give nice crisp corners to my letters. One of those times where the right brush makes all the difference. Sometimes if I have quite a bit of leftover paint, I'll use a paper towel and I'll wipe that out and throw it out and then let whatever little bit is left in there to dry. This is actually pretty thin, so I'm just going to leave that to dry. Not worried about that at all. And then again, because I want a lighter color, I only put in a touch of the darker. I don't need to make it dark. I just need it lighter. Put in a little bit of dark, clean off the excess, and then mix. Make sure you get it off of the wall here, because it'll just want to dribble down into your mixed paint, and then you'll have different shades. You'll have streaks in your paint, so sometimes I even take it, push it up the wall, let it come back down. Unless you're intentionally going for that kind of an effect, most of the time you're not going to want to start with a shade of blue here, and by the time you've gotten over here to the R, it's a different shade of blue. I am going to paint the letters different colors, different shades of blue with a fade. we're going to pick up after I've painted this. We'll come back and do another color over the blue for a fade, and then we'll edge it, and we'll pick up in that video. Please like, share, and subscribe.